You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
And you can find us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text at 252-582-5028. Or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right, and you guys can help us keep the conversation moving forward by supporting the show. Share it online with your friends and family. Leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Absolutely nothing less than 5 stars. Link is in the description, and we are here in the studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who's a PhD in New Testament textual criticism. Dr. Shah, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you guys
Happy
as
Thursday.
well.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Yeah?
Thursday.
You've been watching some Thor?
We did, yeah. We're going through the MCU in chronological order with the kids. We did it with the twins. Now we're going back through with Evie. So
that's fun.
We just watched the first Thor movie not long ago.
Okay. Did anybody see the new Captain America?
Have not seen it.
No, I haven't.
Boring.
That's
Is it
what I
really?
heard. I heard it's.
It's
meh.
just I've never been so bored during an MCU movie. I would have rathered it been bad. Like if it had been bad, at least I'd have something to talk about. Like
I heard most people are walking away like, eh.
It's fine.
Really?
Yeah. It's literally like fine. It even during the last fight, like Red Hulk is like the final villain.
I'm still proud. I may just wait till it comes out on Disney Plus. I'm gonna see it, but I don't know.
You're not going to waste $20.
No.
For a movie with Red Hulk as the final villain, it's like this should have been 10 times more exciting.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. But I've got
You know
some
what is
very
exciting,
strong-
though?
What's that?
The verse of the day.
Let's hear it.
Coming to us from the Minor Prophets again today. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 20. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him.
You know,
Shh. No, you can talk. You can talk. Habakkuk wasn't
this
talking
is
to
a
you.
radio show. What if we did just like a 30-minute silent show?
Habakkuk wasn't talking to you.
The Truth Network rings us up. It's like, oh, what is the meaning of this? It's funny because that is sort of our what do you call it? Our impulse is to talk.
Yeah.
It's like the Lord is here. It's like, Lord, I got to say something. I got to let you know. I got to get all this out. And there's some times where it's like, you just keep silent. You know what I mean? Keep silent because the Lord is here.
That has been the hardest part of developing a healthy prayer life for me is being quiet. Because I just want to talk at God a lot.
Right.
It's really hard to just kind of sit and listen.
Well, a couple of suggestions I can give you guys that have helped me. I'm not saying it's going to help you necessarily, but maybe it will. So when you get up in the morning, don't immediately reach for your phone and start checking your messages. Trust me, I do that at times, and it's a bad habit. But when I stop and I lay in bed for a few moments and just, kind of arm behind my head, just kind of thinking about the day and what's coming up and what all is coming today, and I say a word or two to God and just kind of lie there for a good couple of minutes and things like, God, be with me today. I have a lot to do. Oh, be with me today. I have some big tasks to accomplish or some very difficult situations I have to go through. It's amazing how just that little conversation, not like barking at God, God help me with this, help me with that, no, just simply, God, I have a lot to do today. I need you.
That's right.
And just spend some time. Then when I sit down and do my devotions, I set up a time, like a time limit. Okay, this is going to take me about 40 minutes today or 30 minutes today. And then read a section from the Old Testament, a section from the New Testament, devotional. Now I have 20 minutes left. And in that 20 minutes, I know what I need to ask for. But many times I'll just sit there and look out the window. And I'm talking to God, but I'm not just rattling off a bunch of stuff to him that he needs to get done. But I talk to him, but I then also stop and just kind of stare out the window.
Yeah.
And in those staring out the windows, God begins to give me some clarity over some part of Clearview or some part of our family or some situation or some person or some task that I need to give priority to. He begins to impress that upon me.
One of the things I've learned from watching you, especially in how you communicate from a platform, is that when I'm on stage and when I'm talking between songs, I feel so vulnerable that I have to fill every silence with my voice. And so it's like I have to plan out what I'm going to say. I have to make sure that everything is on point, the illustration is right, all this stuff. And just like I'm doing now, I'm not giving any breath. I'm hitting you. Boom, 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 boom. When I watch you preach, a lot of the times where I felt like God has really spoken to me and where God, I think, is speaking to your congregation is when you make a point and then you walk away or you walk to the TV and then you walk back to the pulpit and you look around. And what you just said is very impactful, and it's in that silence that God is speaking to me.
Yes. It's speaking to a lot of people.
And I think I've definitely learned a lot from that. I still really struggle with it because I feel very, very threatened and intimidated by silence. But it's in that quote-unquote threat, in that intimidation, where the conviction actually comes in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so listening to God, is a very important thing. There's a book, small little book called Practicing the Presence of God. I think it's by Brother Lawrence. This was this monk who was simply washing dishes. And in the washing of the dishes, he was experiencing the presence of God and listening to God and obeying God and those kind of things.
That's awesome.
And I think, I don't want to become too mystical, but there is that mystical element.
Yes, of
stopping
course.
and listening to what God is impressing on your heart.
That's right. And hopefully this radio show today is going to help you do that.
That's right. That's right. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with more Clearview Today. Hey, Clearview Today listeners. We want to take a quick moment to thank you for tuning in. As you can imagine, producing a show like this takes a lot of time, effort, and resources. And we're grateful for the Truth Network for giving us a platform to syndicate our show. But the vast majority of our support comes from listeners just like you. If you enjoy these talks with Dr. Shah and you want to see Clearview Today continue to grow, consider making a donation today, because your contributions help us deliver fun, relevant, and biblical content right to your phone every single day.
That's right. Every single donation, big or small, goes directly to the production of this show. It helps us keep the lights on in the studio. It helps keep the mics hot and running. So if these conversations are making a difference in your day, or if you just want to help us keep the gospel of Jesus Christ in the airwaves, we would appreciate your support. You can give by visiting our website. That's clearviewtodayshow.com, and just click on that button that says Give Today. And remember, your support truly makes a difference in our show. Thank you for being part of this community. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028.
Dr. Shah, I am all for like a good illustration. I love a good analogy. I don't know what it is, but when someone hits me with a really good analogy or a good like illustration, I just understand it and I never ever forget it. But have you ever tried to make an analogy or make an illustration that the moment that you said it, you knew, that didn't hold up. That didn't make sense.
Not good.
Has that ever happened to you?
Like, come up with an analogy and didn't fit?
Yeah, it just didn't fit.
Yeah, it's happened before.
Yeah.
Well, our friend Rick Warren, and I think you know where I'm going with this. He was the founder.
He's in the news.
Oh yeah, he
Not in a good way. Not in the way you want to be in the news.
He said something that a lot of people don't really love.
Yeah.
He did one of these. So he's Rick Warren, if you don't know, he was the founder and the senior pastor of Saddleback Church, and he tried and I think failed to do this. So here's what he did. He posted
He was the one like purpose-driven life and all that.
He posted on Twitter, basically implying that Jesus Christ would be a political centrist today because he was crucified between two thieves. He posted on X, I guess I should say. Do you call it a tweet anymore, or do you call it an X? I don't know.
I don't know what you call it.
So he said this. He said, they crucified Jesus with two others, one on each side, and Jesus in the middle. He's quoting John 19:18. He said, the guys on both sides were thieves. If you're looking for the hashtag real Jesus, not a caricature disfigured by partisan motivations, you'll find him in the middle, not on either side.
Oh, Rick.
Now, Rick,
Why?
Bad move.
bad move, Rick. Because all your Christian friends,
Shouldn't
they ain't
done
like that.
Should not have done that.
People are, I think rightfully so, but people are giving Rick sort of a hard time.
Yeah. I've known about Rick Warren for almost, I would say, 29 years. Mm-hmm. That's a long time to know about Rick Warren. How I came about knowing about Rick Warren is when I came to Southeastern. This is back in 1996, okay? There was a professor there, and he was, I forgot his name, but he went by Mad Dog. Oh, my goodness.
Mad Professor went by Mad Dog?
His I guess, designation, or what do we call it?
Like his nickname or something?
Nickname was Mad Dog John. I cannot remember.
I'm gonna try to look it up.
Yeah, Southeastern. Anyways, but
John Hammett?
No, not John Hammett.
Okay.
John Hammett is there, but there's another
John Ewart?
No.
Okay, I don't know. Is
He's
he still
dead.
there?
He's dead.
Oh,
He
rest
died.
in peace.
He died. Unfortunately, he died way too young. But I was in his class. And his class was on church ministry and church growth and stuff like that. And so he brought up this book called Purpose Driven Church by Rick Warren. I'm like, Purpose Driven Church? I'm like, okay. So I began to read it for class, and I was like, wow, this is great. This is good stuff on how to move people, along this baseball diamond. You start them at the home plate and the first base, second base, third base, home base. That's the goal and what you're trying to achieve with people. And this is about discipleship. This is how you disciple them. Like, man, this is amazing. I wonder if people know about this. This is what people should be reading and studying.
Right.
Wow, your church is going to grow. And then, at Southeastern, there was a big firestorm against Rick Warren.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This is back in 1996, 1997.
Because of that book or because of something else?
Because it was part of the seeker-sensitive movement.
Okay.
You remember the seeker-sensitive movement?
I do, yeah. It was all about, like, you do whatever it takes to get people in the door. Just be sensitive of people who, maybe wouldn't be at church for the first time. Like, basically create any hook to get them in the door. And they got a lot of flack for that.
Right. And, surprising insights from unchurched Harry and Mary kind of thing, you learn from the Harry and Mary out there.
Like a meet people where they are sort of thing.
Like
to
who
get
they
them
are.
in the door.
Let's figure out our, like we were discussing, like, who are the people out there? It's
Right.
an old thing,
Right.
okay? That's been done 30 years ago.
That's okay.
Now, how do you find the yuppies? That was a big thing back in the day, in the 90s. Yuppies.
That sounds like something my mom with the yuppie.
The yuppies.
Everybody's looking for the yuppies. And then the yuppies went away. Then everybody's looking for the Gen Xers. And everybody's looking for the, now whoever they are.
So Rick Warren was all about that, and the seminaries said, no, we don't like that.
Yeah, this is seeker-sensitive stuff, is watering down the gospel, blah, blah, blah. So I went from, like, loving Rick Warren to, like, I don't like him. This is wrong, heretical. And so I went the other extreme. And then about the same time, this is about 1997, Nicole's dad had just planted a church. Okay, this is near Warner Robins, Georgia. Bill Clinton has shut down all the Air Force bases elsewhere, and everything was moving to Warner Robins. So this place was just like booming. And so the association called him, one of the big churches in the association, called him to be their church planting pastor in this area. He was from Warner Robins. I mean, but he was near Warner Robins, so he knew the area. He was in the Air Force at one time. He had pastored for 30-some years. He was a missionary. He was a THM, very smart guy. Been to New Orleans seminary, did his master's, everything. So he was educated, smart, hardworking, good preacher. And the church began to grow. It went from, like, him and his wife, my mother-in-law, and their 2 kids who were still at home, Andrew and Melissa, to 300, 400, 500 people. And guess what book he was using?
Purpose-driven church?
Purpose-driven church. I'm like, okay, I like the guy again. So I went
This
from,
is okay.
What do I think about Rick Warren?
so I went from liking him to hating him to liking him again.
Who am I?
Yeah. But then I was like, no, I don't like him, because you heard a lot about how this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then Nicole's dad would show me, it's like, hey, this baseball diamond, this how, like, no, that may look good, but that's not how human beings work. God's way of working is, you learn all this in seminary. Like, anytime somebody comes up with something good, you gotta
learned it, yeah.
You gotta go against it,
Right.
So I'm like, no, that's not good. This is like putting people in certain, templates. That's not how it works. So, anyways, my father-in-law passed away in 1998. And I inherited his library. Okay. So I inherited all his tapes, that he had tons of tapes. And he had gone to Rick Warren's conference at Saddleback
Oh, wow.
back in the day. In 1996, 97, he had gone to Saddleback, attended the conference, took some of his main leadership with him, got all the church planning, church administration, vision casting, preaching, worship, all these ministry tapes he had bought. So they were all with me. But I'm like, I'm not going to listen to that. That's bad stuff. I don't want to corrupt myself. But I got them for free, so they're going to stay in a box.
Right.
Interestingly, I became the pastor of this church here, which was at the time Tabernacle. And Nicole's dad actually came and preached here, just a revival while I was a youth pastor in 1998. 99, I became a pastor. As a pastor, they gave me an office in the church, and the office smelled like mildew.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, I'm not sitting in here. And then I get to hear gunshots outside the window. I'm like, no, definitely not going to sit here. And then as one day I was like kind of looking around in the church. Nobody's there in the daytime, you know. And I saw the church library. And it was books just lying everywhere on the floor here and everything. And Nicole's dad had already died by this point, about a year now. I'm walking through, and guess what I found? I found a magazine, a church growth magazine from somewhere like 1983, 84, somewhere there. And guess who was on the cover of that magazine?
Was it Rick Warren?
Rick Warren. I'm like, what? I thought this guy just came out of nowhere, seeker sensitive, and built this church. Wait, no. He started this in 1980 in Laguna Hills, California, at a high school, and he began with nothing. Oh. So I sat down and began to read that magazine and read through. It's like, wow, this is amazing what he's doing. And so he learned these principles, and then he put these principles to practice. So the book, Purpose-Driven Church, did not come out because he wanted to just do that. This is tried and true.
Like something he had built up to.
He had worked on this. He had built it. So I said, okay. So 1980, all the way to 90. I mean, this is a 16-year work. And even prior to that, he was a missionary, I think, in Japan for a couple of few years. He had worked through Donald McGavran's work, Bridges of God. My dad knew Donald McGavran. He was a church growth expert, church historian, and he had written a book called Bridges of God. Bridges of God was about how God worked in mission field when like people reached where people reach people like them. He called that the bridges of God.
Wow.
You reach people who are like you. Rick Warren's entire philosophy in purpose-driven church is built on you reach people like you, based on Donald McGavran's Bridges of God.
And that's why it was so popular, you think? Because it was already a tried and true and established methodology of building a church?
I don't think everybody knew about that, but that's where it was coming from.
Got you.
I was about to say, so that book itself less driven by seeker sensitive and more founded on things that were already happening prior to
and already
all
were
this.
working.
C. Peter Wagner. These were, these are names now sort of have been forgotten, but they were very well-known names back in the day, kind of more on the charismatic Pentecostal side of things, but they were very well-known names in church growth.
So how do we end up where Rick Warren is in a place like that to a place like this now, where he's making claims like this?
Jesus is a political centrist.
Well, so Rick Warren always was, evangelistic in that mindset, like, let's meet people where they are.
Gotcha.
Okay? And so in 2006, so by the way, just to give my personal story, then all of a sudden I was in favor of Rick Warren. I've had this love-hate relationship with Rick Warren.
It's like Ross and Rachel, but with Rick Warren.
we were on a break.
So right now, so at that point, the year is 1999. I'm like, oh, I like this guy because he has proven this. He didn't just come through and found the bestseller and now he's big. He's been doing this for a while. And so I began to listen to all his tapes. I've listened to his preaching tapes, probably each one, I would say, 20 times.
Wow.
His church growth tapes, each one 20 times.
I mean, I've never listened to him preach. Is he good? Is he a good preacher?
Well, he was very much like, hey, expository preaching is not just taking a passage and expositing the Word of God. It's like taking a topic, finding scriptures that support the topic, but when you go to that scripture or scriptures, then you exegete it the right way.
Okay.
So it's more topical preaching
Then expository.
I wouldn't call that expository,
Gotcha.
but kind of exegetical, be faithful in your exegesis.
Gotcha.
But many times he wasn't, or he isn't. Okay, so that kind of, I hope that gives you and our listeners and our viewers some understanding of who we're talking about. Sometimes it's easy just like, deal with the subject and then move on until you understand what he's doing.
Right.
So then I was like, oh yeah, I love Rick Warren stuff. But I could never come to love his topical preaching. I love the way he would frame points. I love the way he would structure his messages, apply his messages. Nobody can apply them as good as Rick Warren can. Great application. But when I would look at a pattern, I was like, this is so watered down. But then according to him, I'm not trying to preach to a seminary. I'm trying to preach to a lost audience, the unchurched person. So I was like, okay, I get it, but Sunday after Sunday, just that?
So I think I see what you're saying, because there's lots of pastors and scholars online who are reacting to this specific quote that he's made, or this tweet, or whatever you want to call it, and pointing out that this is bad hermeneutics. And I think what I hear you saying is that Rick Warren has never been known for being good at hermeneutics.
I think he's a very, very, very smart guy. I think he does these things, and he's done them before in a church setting where he has taken. Like there have been passages. Look, I have listened to so many of Rick Warren's messages. I've purchased so many. Not only did I inherit my father-in-law's Rick Warren library, but I also purchased so many from pastors.com, which was his website.
Like you purchased messages?
Oh yeah, back in the day. Not to re-preach them, but to learn from them.
But you can sell sermons?
He did. Oh. Like you can go to Chuck Swindoll, Charles Stanley, Adrian Rogers. You can buy their tapes. Back in the day, you could do that. Now you can download.
Right, for free on podcast. But so you just...
Yeah, I mean, you can buy the entire series, and I did.
Wow.
I mean, I'm talking about not one or two. I'm talking about
the whole collection.
Couple of hundred messages. And I would listen to them on repeat to learn how he phrased that. So it was great. It was great. Don't get me wrong. It was great. But I would always walk away with, that was so flaky. That was such a surface.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have learned how to, come up with a title, structure, application, but I will not preach like this. I will not preach like this.
Yeah.
Another thing, then came out 2006, Purpose-Driven Life. Boy, talk about a bestseller.
Oh, yeah, that one.
People ate that up.
It went through the roof.
Wow.
And again, the principles there are not bad. They're good principles. If you ever read Purpose-Driven,
we did a Bible study on it in our
not bad.
church growing up.
They're good. They help people. A lot of people are in ministry today because of
I say Bible study, not a Bible study. We did a book study.
Yeah.
Life.
A lot of people are in ministry today because of Purpose-Driven Life.
Yeah, that was very, very popular.
I recommend them. It's a good book. But again, surface.
Yeah.
And that is the weakness. All right. And then in 2008, he began to push the envelope where he had Obama and McCain at his church and, try to be the moderator, and then he came out looking like a moderate. No connection between those two words, moderator and moderate, but he definitely came out looking moderate.
Yeah.
And people were not happy. Of course, the LGBTQ crowd was not happy with him because, this guy is not for that.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the pro-lifers were not happy because, hey, Obama, he's pro-abortion. What are you doing? And then, of course, then he got invited to be on Oprah, and then he got invited to do the inauguration prayer for Obama. All these things, and a lot of us, including me, we felt like Rick Warren sort of sold out. Sold out.
Do you think he is truly moderate in his beliefs or his stance?
He's become that. He's become that.
Because he's so obsessed with meeting people where they are?
That's what I was going to say. Like in this drive to meet people where they are and just relate to everybody, you're pulled toward the middle.
But I think it's dangerous. Well, I think it's not good.
I feel like maybe back then I could sort of see, because I feel like I used to think that way, where it's like there's truth on both sides, but that world doesn't exist anymore, and it maybe never existed.
Right. Oh, no, it never did.
It maybe never existed, because definitely I don't see how could you be in the middle? How could Jesus be in the center somewhere on issues like abortion?
Right.
Or on transgenderism, or mutating kids, or you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's the problem.
Like, how
Rick
do you meet
Warren.
in the middle on a issue like that?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to burn him at the stakes, but I'm not going to give him my pulpit.
Right. Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I've learned so much from him. He's pretty amazing. And his heroes, Billy Graham is his hero. I like Billy Graham.
It's a good role model.
Peter Drucker, the nonprofit guy, is one of his heroes. I like Peter Drucker as well. let's see, W.A. Criswell from First Baptist Dallas. He looked up to, Rick Warren looked up to W.A. Criswell. I like W.A. Criswell, learned a lot from his style of growing First Baptist Dallas and all that. But in this area, I think he's played fast and loose. And I do understand his desire to win the searching people. But at the same time, I'm like, Rick, and again, I would probably call him Dr. Rick Warren.
Right.
Or Pastor Rick.
Is he a PhD or like
no, he's
Dr.
a D-Min.
Okay.
He got a D-Min from, I want to say Fuller.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say you give us a lot. Like Lee Strobel, right? Lee Strobel was from, he was at Bill Hybels' church in Willow Creek, but then he went and worked at Rick Warren's Saddleback. But that there, look, the faith book, what is it called?
The Case for Faith.
Case for Faith,
yeah.
Case for Christ, Case for Resurrection, Case for Easter, Case for the Real Jesus. I mean, these are amazing, powerful books that have helped so many people walk with Christ.
There was a great episode. I don't recommend this show for anybody to listen, but there was an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience where someone went on there and said Case for Faith is one of the best books.
It is
like one of the best books for apologetic, like for the defense of Jesus.
Yeah. And then it's because of Rick Warren who got Lee Strobel to come and be a Saddleback, and these things happen. Celebrate Recovery. Okay, Celebrate Recovery is a great program that came out of Saddleback Church. So a lot of good things, but then he has done things that I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I can't.
We got to part
endorse
company
you.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, this inability to take a side has just had a very pernicious effect, I think, on his ministry.
No.
There's no way.
Absolutely not.
Pernicious.
Pernicious?
Yeah, pernicious.
No. Good try.
Thanks.
Rick Warren would say, use the words that an average person understands.
Rick, I would say that
Pernicious is not a very seeker-sensitive word.
I don't think that I don't think that Jesus would be in the middle on any of these issues.
Yeah,
No.
and also the exegesis is horrible. I mean, good grief.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
agree.
Rick.
Yeah.
So that's something I don't know how much time we have, but it's like a lot of people are saying this is just bad hermeneutics. And one of the questions I was going to ask you is he even trying to have good hermeneutics? Is that even what he's about?
Or
I
is it
think-
just this fits as an analogy?
I think I don't believe here. Again, it's hard to judge people's motives. I think with starting in 2008, I think Rick Warren, I believe his compass got off. When he got into that, I'm going to try to bring Obama and McCain together, and I'm going to be, I think that's where I feel like his compass was off. Again, also there are other things like women in ministry and all that he's endorsed things that I'm like, Rick, what are you doing?
What are you doing,
What are you
Rick?
doing?
Yeah.
Why?
Come on, Rick.
Why? You could have followed your leader, Billy Graham, and stayed focused on reaching the unchurched. And I would have still today be singing his praises.
Right.
Because I think he's done a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah.
But here you went down this road which you didn't have to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
That's a great comparison. I mean, you have Billy Graham who was very focused on the truth, but also focused on reaching people.
Right.
And I mean, look at the fruit of his ministry, continuing to see fruit in his ministry. And then you have somebody like Rick Warren who has produced a lot of great things.
Oh, yeah.
But focused maybe too far on reaching people that were compromising.
Yeah,
things.
you don't have people on the Babylon Bee roasting Billy Graham.
That's very true.
People ain't really mad at him, and I understand it too. I understand this need to want to get as many people as you can on your side.
You should, or into heaven.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. But I think at the same time, it has sort of backfired.
Yeah.
and I think it's getting to a point where it's like nobody's really looking for anyone in the center anymore. You either pick a side or you don't.
Because you, how can, as the Bible says, how can we, being children of light,
That's right.
be in fellowship with darkness?
100%.
How can we do that? I mean, sooner or later, darkness is going to suck you in.
That's right.
That's right. Make sure you guys join us tomorrow, same time, same station. We're going to be diving into another great topic here on the Clearview Today Show. Thanks again to our sponsors for making today's episode possible. And don't forget that you can support us by subscribing to the show on iTunes if you want to re-listen. And you can always support us financially at clearviewtodayshow.com. John, what's coming up you want to let our listeners know about?
We are going to NRB this coming up week. We're going to be in Dallas, Texas. If you're there at the convention, make sure you come and find our booth on the floor. Make sure you come and say hi. Maybe we'll shout out your ministry as we're doing some live shows on the floor. Also want to let you know that Dr. Shah and Nicole's book, 30 Days of Praying for America, Daily Devotions to Heal Our Nation, is available on Amazon right now. It's book 3 out of a 3-book series. Book 4 is coming up very, very soon. But we do want to let you know that there's some original music coming in the pipeline. A new single, Great and Awesome, by Clearview Worship, is going to be available very, very soon. It's on Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere that digital music is streamed or sold.
That's right. Make sure you guys join us tomorrow. We love you guys. We'll see you on tomorrow's episode on Clearview Today.